Honda no longer sells the fuel-sipping Fit, so if you want a tiny Honda vehicle here in 2022, you've got to go with the HR-V. And Honda will even give it to you in all-wheel drive. But what sort of fuel economy can it get out on the highway? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 Honda HR-V all-wheel drive. In today's test, we're going to head out onto the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour, to get you a realistic highway fuel economy number for this subcompact crossover. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Completely redesigned for 2023, sporting Honda's new design language inside and out. This one in a fun color, kind of a unique launch color for this car. It's got a good amount of practicality, but it is a little bit pricey compared to some of its subcompact crossover counterparts. But if you do want to see more on the HR-V, check the links in the description. We've got a DM review, as well as some first drive coverage from Chris, and of course a sound system review. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which gives this HR-V 30 miles per gallon in all-wheel drive form, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. We know there are plenty of people who use their vehicles for longer trips on the highway and would like to know what sort of numbers they can realistically expect here in the real world. In order to do that, we're going to head right over here to pump number 1, fill up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. A few things to note for today. Outside temperature is 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Our tire pressures have been set to their door placard. What was this one? 33 front, 32 rear. Cold. And we're going to run the climate control at 73 degrees auto. I guess we might as well get that set up here soon. All right, let's hop out and fill it up. 1.403 gallons going in for our first fill. Before starting the engine, we've got our GPS reset. We're going to reset the car's trip computer as well. And we're ready to begin. We're going to take it nice and easy over the highway. It's about half a mile away, and pick up the test from there. The goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy number for this car, but rather a realistic figure. In order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the whole test. Not the most powerful motor in here, only about 150 horsepower, so we are going to have to give it a little bit of extra throttle to get up to speed, but still not too much of a problem for this car. We do have a few different drive modes in here. We got normal, eco, and sport. We're going to run in, it's actually technically called Econ, but you get the idea. Close our sunroof. Interestingly, the car's speedometer seems to be about 1 mile per hour below the speedometer on the GPS. Well, we were about pretty accurate here, so we're going to settle in at 72, see how that does. Hopefully this Ford Edge feels like doing at least 72 as well. We do have adaptive cruise control in this EXL model and a pretty good active lane keeping feature, so that'll be nice to have. Initial highway observations, a little bit of extra road noise, a bit more than I would want, but again, we are in a pretty economical car, so I guess that makes sense. Alright, we're going to continue on with the test and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the 23 HRV. Pretty darn close to EPA according to the vehicle's trip computer, 30.5 MPG, over 92 miles at this point. Average 70 miles per hour, so a very smooth test. It always works a little better when I get my butt in gear in the morning and do these at a decent hour. But no big surprises, I suppose. All I would say is that it makes more sense to get the all-wheel drive HRV if you really don't do a ton of highway driving. You want the all-wheel drive for maybe inclement weather, regularly inclement weather, I should say. And if you do more local driving, maybe if you just don't put a lot of miles on your car altogether, because this just ultimately isn't a fantastic highway cruiser. The seats don't provide a ton of thigh support. They're fairly short seat bottoms, and it's fairly loud in here. I made some phone calls, listened to some talk radio, and you're dealing with a lot of road noise, especially in the louder sections of highway. But all things considered, you do have a pretty good active lane keeping system, so that's been nice. Let's see, under this concrete highway, it's just fairly loud. And then the fuel economy, you're going to get much better fuel economy if you're in something like a sedan. Even the front wheel drive HRV is going to be a little better. But either way, we're going to get back to the pump, fill this up, see if the pump matches the vehicle's readout, see what our final number is. 3.118 gallons going in for our final fill. 95.9 divided by 3.118 is giving us 30.7 miles per gallon, rounding up to 31 MPG. So just barely beating the EPA and matching the vehicle's trip readout quite well, 30.5. 31 miles per gallon times the 14-gallon fuel tank's giving us an effective highway cruising range of just over 430 miles here in the 2023 Honda HRV all-wheel drive. Not terrible of a figure, but you just got to remember how much space you're getting in a car like this. Not awful, but maybe not as good of a number as you would expect from something with front-wheel drive and maybe a little bit lower. Just something to keep in mind. But thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Honda HRV, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.